Okay, this is the continuation of reading Banner of the Broken Cross. The full title is The Banner of the Broken Cross and the Storm of the Worlds, Part 1. This is Supra Section 4, which is the next 6,000 words in the poem. So I'm going to continue reading. The first speaker is the character Christian. Dreams burn forever. My mind tortured by love of a woman, who I will never touch. Never hear her voice, never speak her name. I saw her standing there in my dreams. She called my name and I could never remember her voice. The shades over the world of our capsizing hearts. Ships which anchored now have barely left for their voyage, but have capsized and are submerged by the roaring waves. Here we are, catapulted into a world which we did not believe in, a world where our souls are submerged in waves, churning underneath these waves, and under these same waves dream of friends lost long ago. My open soul to the current surrendered, learning the lesson from the woman in my dreams, who I fell after head over heels. I never shared my vision of her with anyone at all, not even family or dear friends, because the mockery would be unending. My joy in dreams is insurmountable. No way to forget these dreams and live a normal life, because I know that if I step out of line, the world would find me repugnant. The constant light that shone through the window at night guided me in my dreams, flowed through me in eternal memories of violence and clashing armies, of a wayward prince who had lost his throne, deep as the sea of our desires for power. But only those who never seek it deserve to keep power. The constant theme of music that covers the world, which we fall in love with, constitute real power, where even in the midst of persecution we are free to speak our true minds. My beautiful and rebel heart flows forever, with conscious thoughts of finding the light that seeps through my windows and following it somewhere to a great and thunderous sea, where worlds will collide and meet and mesh and come together and open themselves to other worlds. Our language grows in power. The more we desire and learn from the worlds we may never visit, the melody that we always hear, compelling us to want more than we know we can ever have, flowing forever through the worlds of these vast and powerful and beautiful oceans. I know that I was always made for something more than the simple life that I have, where the world, the veritable prison which I bang myself against its borders viciously like prison bars that will never budge, no matter how much force of nuclear explosion is used against it. Standing here unmoved by the same force, nothing will stop me from trying to escape. Two immovable forces eternally opposed to each other, fighting viciously against the pain in my heart that drags me down and keeps me enslaved to this present world, clenched and tormented in this hell and land of shadows. All I ever want is a way to find my passion and leave this place, where there may be never any hope of escaping. I clench my own heartstrings so that I know nothing will sway my heart away from the place where it started. The lights within my heart echo the storm of the world themselves. The message in my heart was that I always desired to be a hero. When all of them were gone, the weight against my heart will never be removed, because my heart is the portal to all the worlds, and I can only find in dreams my memories of the past evaporating and becoming elusive. I spent the nights with friends, but my heart is burning with pain, knowing that I can never speak my mind, so I ride my motorcycle and find myself in bars, trying to drink away the memory of the one from my dreams, and of her drifting sea, because I could not find her, because this sea existed in my heart, would always be a part of my insides. The lasting memories were the ones that drive our hearts forward to the light piercing through the oceans inside my heart, which every night rage with storms vicious and unstoppable, glorious in their pertinence, and in their passionate swelling of life, always reaching out toward the sky. The forest I walked through, trees all around, reaching out toward the same sky, forever growing with life, throbbing, but in their own way and in their own power. My power too runs like the power of this same nature. The life in my veins glowing out away from this place, desiring a home, a grace, a memory, all fading. When we, willing to forget the past, glory of the rising sun in the night sky, millions more and new ones presenting themselves in the same sky each night. The light takes forever to reach us, and only now am I warmed by its swaying movement of warmth. The visions never cease, and alcohol cannot simply make them vanish. I'm a lonely heart traversing this world, rocked by any sway. If you can hear me in the waters of this world, please understand the shadows can only hide what we will never see. My apathy inside my heart grows forever, and I stop caring about how I'm perceived, and I live the life of my dreams. I float like a cloud and I live in a dream. Tumbling like a stone down the hill, never controlled or bridled, never stopped, always flowing forever in the same bending passion that guides rebel hearts as they all flow through the world, and not only this world but all worlds. My patience was unrivaled. As soon as I learned that there was nothing I could do to resist the pull and sway of my bitter dreams, I awakened to the bitterness of my own scars, and realized that the stinging pain of these same scars was always growing and taking over, and I would never be able to resist falling into the pain of the memories of how these scars were earned. So I went outside the bar and rode my motorcycle wherever it would take me, burning up with the flavor of certain passions that bend souls and break hearts, and the world looked like an open plain to me, the wind against my back, the future in front of me. The open road is fathomless, and all places could be my home. The world is open to explore, or at least it is in dreams. And not only this world, but all worlds were open to explore in my dreams. My power unleashed against the tyrants, although I dared not speak the names of priests, of governors, of judges, of souls glowing forever with the passionate praise of the created world. Knowing the source of it is different than what we were always told. The passion comes from melody. The world arose from song. The song in my soul grows each moment that I traverse down this road. The thrill of the journey and the exhilaration of acceleration. Engines roaring, power in a full tank of gas to take me wherever my mind would wander off to. My only guide was my almighty heart through this world. The precious time we have in this world to strive to be stronger, each day muscles gaining strength, ingesting passion and energy. We stand here as souls broken and bitter with passion. The remnants of forgotten worlds follow us forward. Whenever the excitement of rushing engines greets us, the power that takes us from one place to another, I was weightless like a cloud with no obligation to anyone. I could go anywhere and find any place in this world that I wanted, if only in my head. The power of the heart. All it needs to do is connect with the heart of another. And there was so much I hated about the world. And there was so much I loved. So much which always called to me, greeted to me in its passion, glorified in its patience. And we would always find a swift reward for our patient hearts within the world. The demons had the world, but I had my dreams. Flowing forward with poetry and accelerating engines of the motorcycle, flowing wherever I wanted to go. The storm of the worlds has found in more than one place. It is found in the patient embrace of dear friends, the grip of a lover, the endurance of perseverance through all hard times, to complete some beautiful work of art, which inspires passionate praise from all who see it. I am breathing and I flow forward, driving in my motorcycle toward the storm, glowing with myself with light from the electric current of the lightning which strikes me. I know that the world is a dream. Life is filled with lonely hearts, and our minds are filled to the brim with nightmares. My mind like a cassette tape that you listen to and inhale, hearing my story and breathing it out forever. Showing more people that this storm which I have found can be real for you as well. And you can be indeed a rebel, a heart ready to fight a war, ready to be one with the passing breeze and to float through all spaces and all times, while the clock always ticks on forward, despite our inaction, despite our laziness, and the light from the sun will itself eventually grow dim. All I want is passion and a soul to hold. So many say they will die for love. So few prove it. The storm grows more concrete, and it only thrives within my heart. It grows bigger and stronger and insurmountable. Red, fiery seas, like those of faraway distant planets. Tossing and turning oceans, tidal waves, which we fear, but we have nothing to fear from them. No, we should fear no man. We should fear no creature, no angel and no demon, save from the true God alone, who stands holding mercy upwards like a candle. But this is the light of the moon, which guides us through the storm of the world, somewhere, indeed, where we belong, where we can be held forever, grafted charitably into what is greater than desire, more true than heaven, hotter than the flames of true hell indeed. This flame itself is love, of the incontestable fight against darkness, which only charity itself can win, forgetting the world of my youth, falling forever into the future, whatever it may hold, slavery, a patient future, which calls us forever into its soft and pattering rain, the hail covering all worlds, growing silent in the depth of memory, fulfilled with the peace of my ocean's song. The lightning began to ring out like a song itself, pattering strumming guitar strings, electric in its motion, but fluid as water itself, burning itself like fire in the hearts of all who can hear it. I burn up inside my heart, hoping one day to return to the passion of my youth, the glowing first principle of life, the memory itself, passing forever, of the glimpses of other worlds in the sea. I thought I saw someone else floating through the waters, but she was too far away. Perhaps it was still the woman from my dreams, but perhaps I'd grown desperate to interpret anything in the world as a hope to grasp onto, that I would one day see her again, the pattering breath of the rain, roaring forever against these waters, the sea once again calm. And then I woke up, and sitting in front of the motorcycle, my body drenched with rainwater, my heart always drenched and pulled forward because of the charity that urges me on forever in its swell and song. I will stay here and watch the cars diligently traverse this world, never ceasing to reach their destinations. The movements of the wind were all that comforted me. I was here searching for what I knew I was searching for my entire life, a way out of the world itself. But there was nothing I could read, no knowledge I could attain, that would help me on my journey. The priests throughout the world, following a false god, invoking his hatred, but somehow I knew I was different. Everyone in the world seemed so enthralled, but somehow I could resist the urge to fall in line and to worship this entity. And who I knew had done me no favors, had no desire to help me, was no God worth praying to. The difference between the true and false God, the false God destroys, the true God rebuilds whatever was destroyed, jumps into the water to save you when drowning. No depths he will not go to reach you. I knew that I could feel this in my soul, the beauty of the present matter, the glow and that shattered all fears. In the storm of the worlds follow me, even in the darkest night, and I know that I can feel the current of the wind, the desperate calling of heaven to reach down to us. I knew that somehow God would pick me out of this nightmare. The life in my veins each day was growing thin. And I knew that each day from now on, I was getting closer to losing my weary heart, to exhaustion, after crying out for energy, for life, for breath, for so long. The labor within my heart that urged me forward, now and forever, to hold on to what is beautiful, and to be one with the passing breeze of the world. And I will ask you again and again to touch me, to feel the clamoring and desperate life in my heart, to follow after every single moment of charity. We know that the world was made by charity, and it exists only for it, and for no other purpose or meaning. My heaven is so close to yours when I fall asleep and dream, and in the storm of the worlds we can ultimately find each other. But there is no telling which world each of us will drift off to. The search within this world to find something powerful, enough to set things right in the world. A magic that bends the stars and binds them to us. I know that if I lose my life in this world, I will not rise again, and that I will become nothing, and there will be nothing to celebrate. And after I pass through this world, because there I shall be less than nothing. It is better to have never existed than to have existed once but cease to exist. The blurring of hearts, so we cannot see how we truly feel. We burn with eternal passion. Sometimes when the world grows quieter is when I listen the most. I needed the wind to speak my name. My Lord knows that no one else will. My name unspoken and my loneliness became overwhelming and guided me to a place where I never wanted to go, horrifying me worse than any horror story I've ever read. The steeples of the temples of darkness, polluting the sky like conduits to demons, floating throughout the world, the night growing dimmer. And I walked through this world, craving a greater love, wishing I was the king who wore the crown and had authority over the world. How the world would change if only I had my own world. The only world I owned was the world inside my heart. But that world raged on like a storm and grew with passion, but it still was uncontrolled, untamed, and I knew that my heart would never be the same again. Could not be controlled by anyone, was its own spirit, its own cascading force that no one could oppose. Nothing could stand in the way of my heart, not even my own will or power, except for brute and violent force, which shattered my teeth, and my face hard against the concrete wall. Out of all my confrontations in this world, I never feared physical pain. The only thing I ever feared was spiritual death, and nothing else could keep me down. These winds, my spiritual force in my heart, nevertheless made me get up whenever I was pushed down into the ground or the wall, looking for peace, looking for hope, and melodious songs we used to sing. Memory was enough to keep my heart alive. It was its own story or narrative, always clawing on forward despite any and all impediments, always finding a way to crawl through the dirt and to reach out for life despite the errors of the world. I reach out forever for what I will never touch without reaching up toward the sky. The passionate glow forever in my heart. Sometimes a touch is enough. Sometimes passion bends with the light of the stars to its own purpose, and it is stronger than fate itself. The will of God and the will of love are one. The life in my veins flowing on forward towards eternity, with all its welcoming force, with all its energy, striving to find its own place by the riverbank, where it can rest and find eternal bliss. Families forever striving to be together and to grow in their healing and in their motions of eternal song, heard and coming together in the storm into one coherent melody of life, following the decree of the will of love, to never give up and never surrender, no matter what the cost, to always fight for what is true, and be always patient, always kind and long suffering, will outlast all seasons and storms without checking the time, always waiting for truth. In the midst of passionate floods of movement, come together as one whole symphony of the storm. And despite all the beckoning and seducing voices, I will not listen to any of them. Will always claw on forward with the passion of my emergent heart that rises out of waters and finds itself whole from the waters. and victorious, healed, not needing any of the spiritual drugs which I am offered. I walk my own path, I go my own way, I display my own love forever, in this world, no matter how naive I may seem. I will always wear my love on my sleeve, and show it to the rest of the world, so that they can see who I truly am. And I offer my sovereign soul to the world, and tell the worlds that this soul will rule all worlds, and judge over the angels, and condemn the demons, and they shall condemn the demons away forever, and they shall all go their own ways, and take their willing victims there. But I am here with my family, always falling in love with new ways, always displaying our heroic virtue forever within this new world. This life in my mind, in spite of the death surrounding us, the poverty all of us experience, and only those with power in the world are fed, and only those who fall of darkness have power, and it is a blind power. This is an end to itself, and leads to nothing higher, nothing greater. The patience in my heart tells me that the flowers of the field are here today and disappear tomorrow, but not one of these flowers was not beautiful in its own place and in its own time. Flow with me forever and feel the beating of my heart, stronger each moment that you grip me, and hold me closer than the winds of time. The winds call my name, and they follow me to heaven. The light of these stars leads us to a place of solace, where we can live without being under the control of a false god. My rebellion grew stronger with every sunrise that I witnessed. I waited for the sunrise to come, and it amazed me each and every time that I saw it over the city, over the streets of North America, the lights of New York and Ontario. None of these compared to what I felt when I watched the sunrise. The glorious rising of the future, knowing that no one and nothing would keep us apart, no matter what universe you had flown through, craving one more moment together. A purpose found, and I knew that only in dreams we find each other. We will never lose sight of what makes us whole. We will never lose sight of our true dreams. Our weary hearts beating on forever. Even in the midst of all the clouds, the fiery storms cut through the clouds and provide us a place of rest from the wind and the rain crashing through. It is never too late to embrace the slow passing seasons that grip us and swear to never let go. But they will all come back to us in their own time. Some seasons I loved, some I hated. Some I loathed with a passion greater than love itself. The hatred that I had for some seasons, like the season of war, burned forever and sprang up eternally into something that would only be remembered by God Himself. Spiritual matters cannot be described except in song. The true nature of the passing time, in revving the engine of the bike, and showing that its power off to the rest of the world, that it will take me anywhere into all places that I need to traverse. I am a warrior to the bones, a competitor at heart, shaking and filled with the vibrations of the engine, forever moving through nations, a nation that is brought down to its knees in spiritual tyranny, itself a spiritual desert. Our war bitterly waged, through the memory those who had passed away long ago, and who will never find again. But all life presses on forward forever. Generations following after us, declaring that heaven will never be far. The life in my soul is the doorstop to the flood of demons that threaten to flood the entire world and overwhelm it. And I flow on opposite currents of the world. And all resistance I face only makes me stronger. More powerful and willing to break the chains of those who are clueless to the dominion over them. The 7 plagues that will flood the world, until we realize that none of us exist here alone. All of us together have our own purposes and our own meanings. Our own current grows stronger, pulling the rest of the world to our current. And in the sway of this current, the world surrenders. I have no regrets in this life. The sights and sounds were all that matters. It will be all that matters in the future. The lamp of my heart was always my eyes, taking me forward in the direction of a better sunrise, a passionate future, where I am held in the arms of angels who guide me, all by their lights, to a home where we can be whole and remade into something beautiful, sketched out like ink across the pages all across the world. The comfort of hearts coming together peaceably into a hail of lights, where the demons and vicious flesh-eating, mind-consuming monsters will never find us again, or be able to persecute us. The balance of passion follows me. Unbreaking will never stop me. The pain in my heart of gold was that my heart was too heavy to ever be sustained within my chest, and it sank deep and never re-emerged from the depths it had found itself in. The grace is the only depth for which the bottom can never be reached. The religion of grace is the only truth that I have never heard preached. I follow the life in my heart to a place where I can sit patiently under a tree and rest, feel the anthems of forever growing. I run forever after whatever loves my soul. I greet the dawning of light, knowing that this light is permanent and glows with its own purpose, to its own pleasure and passion, which we will all praise forever. I have lost more friends than I can count. I have struggled each night to come up with something, some pure or purpose or meaning to this life in itself, always worrying about the future. And I could not control my fretting and anxiousness within the world. The only thing I knew was that the world was covered in a shroud, that I had no lamp to light a path away from it. I was certain there was indeed a way out, but there was absolutely no way to find it. Glowing torches light the path sometimes, but they flicker and then go out, lights vanishing rapidly just as we are looking for a way out of this machine. The knives in the night, which we flee from, haunt us. The feelings of dread of what we know had only come from hell, and we will never be able to survive without divine assistance. The twist in my heart that always tortures me and guides me to places where freedom calls out to me. I wait here for now, for her, but she is nowhere in this world as far as I can tell. We will only meet in the storm of the worlds, the passionate thread of ever-flowing music, which guides us to sing in its rhythm, in its chaotic, clamorous sounds, that they guide us to where we always wanted to be held tightly so that nothing could grip us from the grasped and clenching heart of love in other worlds. I can see the clamoring armies fighting bitterly with hatred, and I know hatred not only destroys our nation, but also every person in the world. Sing with me of all these, if only in dreams. My heart coaxes into yours and becomes one with yours together, holding life in the balance between our two beating hearts, bursting out forever with brilliant life. My world had a set time, and after that time expires, no one would be able to save it. I dreamed I was standing on a rooftop, shouting out for love, but I knew I was never brave enough to shout with my lungs. The only muscle that moved was the one that controlled my pen and guided it on its pilgrim path to write books worth of poems, acquiescing the beautiful life to begin, and for at last my pen to triumph, mightier than the tidal waves that will eventually crash into our shores, taking us somewhere out to a sea we never believed in. Greet me in every sunrise like the new light of heaven's tomorrow, in heaven's sound falling over us, in its manner of dousing us in transformative waters, which cover every part of us until we are wholly transformed into something beautiful, new, and glorious. If God can hear me, lead me to shores where my ship can land and rest. Flood my heart with the knowledge that even in this diseased and corrupted world, that there was a plan after all. to peace, life, and truth to flow forward in their brutal honesty, in the triumphant coming of God, where all I will do is kneel in silence. And the mercy of this life grows, even in the face of great danger, malice, and greed. The desire for a little power was never enough. The desire for any power overflows and destroys the world. Light me a path through the darkness. The corruption inside of the world makes it impossible to see where we came from or where we are going. What I crave is the providence of a peaceful morning that follows me and goes forward forever, comforting touch enough. The streets are always filled with the same chanting, and all I want is to march through these streets to protest the direction of the world. And I will put a stop to the heart of the violent machine, always arching toward us. The dreams of yesterday follow me into the future and run toward me with their fire, avalanche of flames protruding forward forever. Hold me like the passion of your fire, burning and lighting up the room. The light is all I have ever craved. Light illuminating these dark oceans, which flow forward into the heart of joy. Free-flowing rivers of night flow and fill all the world with darkness. My heart contains all these oceans, and the storm of the worlds floods the oceans with its lightning. Mighty waves flooding this world, filling every part of this world, which only contains seas, connecting all the worlds together. These mighty waves rising and capsizing all the wayward ships which float on these waters, looking for a path home. And all the souls who have ever been shipwrecked from these seas wait in the water. Water fills my heart with joy, and I know that this water has control, fills the world with generous peace and growing life in veins, pulsating and urging me to find these waters. My thirsty heart always longed for these waters, and the waters filled the heart and blew over with joy. The banter within the world of heaven, the heaven we long for, that always is lost somewhere in these infinite oceans, which I can never find. My heart grows warmer across its world, and these seas grow more generous, flowing through all life with joy. My walls around my heart that no one could penetrate, so that nothing could invade my world. All I want is the truth within the world. The joy of longing for forever to come and find me. Imagine a life where we can rest. A life where the joy is approachable, and heaven is the only certain future we long for. But sometimes our souls are relentless and never find their rest. My lungs filled with joy as I exhale the waters of these oceans. These waters were filled with magic, which actively transformed my heart. Glowing forward forever, lighting up all these oceans. The magic protects it from the forces of eternal darkness, so that the storm of the worlds will not be found by the Dark Lord, no matter how strongly he sought to find it. This world is lonely, and our hearts are growing in their passion, and the oceans become more wild. All these waves become mighty tidal waves, massive and unprecedented storms in this world, flowing forever in their darkness. The Dark Lord attempts to enter this world with no success, stopped at every turn. His magic was forever useless here, and all his powers would burn up forever in fire instead of water if he ever entered the storm. The woman in my dreams still, however, surrendered to the waves of the storm, impervious to the darts of the evil one. They could not penetrate the walls of this world. The anger in hearts, boiling over with pain and torment of the lights of the future burning up and being extinguished, so that we could never see where we are going. We surrendered to these waves, and no one would be there to come to our aid, to save us. No one could see us, and we had no need to be saved. My heaven collided with hers forever. We both surrendered our most guarded secrets to the heart of the others, and no one again would hear us in the abyss. My great passion was always to find a way to touch those waters within my heart, but I would not be able to find them. The future calls us, but no one knows where it will lead. And only the bravest of souls dive headfirst into the future. Somewhere alone, I stay inside, dreaming about these oceans, while outside my shell, those suffering souls fail to warm themselves in the fires. And all I remember is the music of my youth, which I will never hear again. The heart God granted me, the heart God graced me with, was always resilient within this world. Although I had no knowledge of God, he never called me by name, and beckoned me to come closer to his reign, seeking dominion over the entire world, which had surrendered its soul to the Dark Lord, or demon who ruled the world with a fist of iron, and grasped this fist around my neck. If the heaven we dream of is so far, and there is no indication if we will ever find it, I will always be rocked by these waves, and I too must learn to surrender to them. My heart goes on forever, whether in pain or in peace. The future moves on forever, holding me closer to its welcoming heart. Everyone is afraid of the future, but I have nothing to be afraid of, so I dive into it with arms open wide, forever dreaming about what it might hold and what it might offer me. The energy in my soul was nothing but rocking oceans, which capsize any ships who dare to sail here. And they fall over, and the people in these ships fall into the waters and are lost, and end up in different worlds, far from home forever, never to find their origin point, lost in the great unwelcoming night. I wake from my sleep and walk through the city, longing forever for these waves that I could feel in my heart. The shadows follow me, demanding its victory over my life, always desiring to tackle me and push me into the darkness, where I never will be able to get up and stand my own ground. The light of my heart grew dim forever. The collapsing world falls down into darkness instead. The light of my heart falls into darkness, and the waves are dark and flooded with the shadows. Each step I take in the city draws me closer to a future as uncertain as the new sunrise is certain. The guiding lighthouses of the world grew dim as well, and we sat in darkness, and the woman from my dreams continued floating through these oceans, and I found her own darkness, and I could no longer see her. The storm of the worlds was forever linked to my heart, and whenever darkness flooded my heart, it flooded the oceans as well. And all I will ever do is wait for the habitual sunrise. It will come sometime, and all we can ever do is wait for it to appear in the sky. Until then, we stay inside our own darkness, waiting for the fog of the dark to clear, so that we can see and walk freely throughout the world. In my heaven, always so far, a distance I will never travel. The journey lasts forever, and there is no telling if I will ever reach the end of the journey. But in reality, each step we take greets us with all its uncertainty, and we feel paralyzed, powerless to do what we want to do, and to be the people that we want to become. The coldness in my heart floods my soul. The nature of power calling me and welcoming me with honest and open arms, for the pain cutting my heart but the pain cutting my heart will never penetrate any layer of it, because my heart is almighty and impervious to penetration or to prying eyes. The rising sun of the world finally appears, and for once the storm of the worlds is slightly quieted, and the light fills the oceans, and we can both surrender to calm and silent seas which call our names forever, which we can resist but never escape from, which are willing to die forever, but can only surrender to what these oceans want, and have no control ourselves. God had all the control over not only my world, but all worlds.